Welcome back to Let's Not Sugarcoat It. Season 3 is here and we're excited to dive into the core of communication, relationships, and leadership.
We're your hosts, Bella and Lee, a husband and wife duo with a successful business helping couples and organizations get it together to play a bigger game and elevate their relationships and performance.
We believe in keeping it real, so each week we'll bring you incredible guests, entrepreneurs sharing their authentic experiences, along with episodes featuring just the two of us tackling the tough topics.
So, if you're ready to enhance your connections and sharpen your leadership skills, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Welcome back to another episode of Let's Not Sugarcoat It. Hey everyone, before we get into today's episodes, we just want to let you know that this one is a little bit different. What you're about to hear is a compiled episode. We've pulled together moments from 3 of our past conversations, not because this is new material, but because the same thing keeps coming up again and again. And honestly, a lot of you have told us that you want something to come back to when you're in it. So think of this episode as a toolbox replay, the parts that landed, the moments that created clarity, the conversations that keep resurfacing when life feels heavy, reactive, or just slightly off. The thread that ties all of this together is simple but powerful. Discomfort is data. Frustration, triggers, exhaustions. They're not signs that you're failing or broken. They're information. They're signals pointing to misalignment, outdated coping mechanisms, or places where something needs to shift. In this episode, you'll hear us talk about why bulldozing through fear often keeps us stuck, how learning to say not now can be one of the healthiest boundaries you can have, and what actually helps couples support each other on the hard days without resentment or scorekeeping. We also talk about rest, about regulation, about why doing all the right things doesn't help if you're disconnected from what actually matters to you. So if you've been feeling stretched thin, reactive, or like you're pushing but nothing's moving, this episode is for you. So let's get into it.
Do you want me to get into some of the other bits as well that I mentioned?
Yeah.
Okay,
100%.
so
Real unfiltered. Let's go. Give it to me.
So, I thought this is interesting. You both have the arrow of frustration, which is fascinating because the arrow of frustration is one of those influences in numerology that people love to hate. Right? It's like, oh, it's so frustrating. But it's like the arrow of frustration is the red flag that shows you when you're out of alignment. And so it's like frustration for you isn't meant to be something you force. It's meant to be something to notice of like, what is the frustration showing me as to where something is blocking my path, where something is off course or off path or out of alignment for me. And so you want to take it in. It's like, oh, I'm frustrated because this isn't my road. There's something in the way. There's something not quite right. I need to pause and assess for a minute and figure out what would get the frustration away and then do that. And then it will flow. Right. Yeah. So it's actually a frustrating, but handy influence because it will create better alignment. And that means more flow.
Yeah. Well, I love that because we talk a lot about discomfort not being something that you need to avoid or get used to in a context where, discomfort is now comfortable for me. Discomfort is an indicator. It's a data point to say, pay attention. Why am I feeling uncomfortable about this? It's the body's way of saying this is a situation or a conversation or whatever that you need to pay attention to, not divert your attention away from.
Yeah. Well, and I love that because I would 100% agree. It's like, this is information. Yes. Once I process the information, then I'll know what to do. And that's where I think it goes sideways when people have the, expressions in their mind of like, feel the fear and do it anyways. And it's like, well, there's times when we do need to do that, but there's other times when that feeling is coming up to cause us to make a shift, to make an adjustment, to make a tweak. It might be a massive shift or it might be something small. But if we don't process that information and we try to just bulldoze through, that's not helpful.
No, because you can bulldoze through that fear when you think about just do it anyway. You can bulldoze through without understanding why is that fear, that discomfort there in the first place?
Yeah.
So then all you're going to end up doing is constantly bulldozing through that same thing over and over again.
And
right?
no lessons to be learned. Like, you don't know why. And then you come out on that other end going, I'm still here. I'm still not where I want to be. So I did the hard thing.
And now I got to do it again.
And I have to do it again. And it's this constant perpetual cycle because we don't question our own feelings and why, right? And that's the beauty of these tools. They're just, like you said, information to give us a starting point to start looking inward, going, why am I feeling this? Why am I doing it this way? Why am I allowing this relationship to make me feel a certain way? It's not always like on the outside. A lot of this work is on the inside, and it is important to do the work. Otherwise, it's just a fun thing to do.
Right? Exactly. Well, and I didn't mention this before when I was talking about the 4, but one of the shadow traits of the 4, or the disempowered aspects of the 4, is carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders.
Oh, that is so you.
That's totally me.
And knowing that this arrow of frustration is meant to help you, these multiple 2s are meant to help you. It's like you're meant to turn towards relationship, or if you're noticing that frustration creep in, it's like, okay, information, what is this information trying to tell me? So I can shift out of carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders and shift back into holding a vision for some relational goal. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's just,
He's like,
yeah, yesterday.
yesterday. Yeah. It is. It's hard for me not to because I care so much, but it's at the expense of my own being, my own self. So, you know, he's really good at stepping in and going, okay, simmer down, chopstick. We need you to rest and digest versus constantly being in the fight and flight because I'm managing so much. And what of those things that are on my plate, on top of my shoulder, or per se, are not for me to carry. So do I just give them back to, and the responsibility to, the person that I'm taking it from?
Yeah. You know, another beautiful part of, you know, these tools and conversations is about language, right? Being able to use this language as a way of expanding the conversations that we have and the possibility of what can come out of them. Because we talk a lot about masculine and feminine energy. And so we're able to use those terminologies now, not in a blaming way, but sometimes I could just say, hey, you're leaning into your masculine and that's not where you need to be right now. And then she's just like, oh, yeah. That's right.
That's the distinction is between the doing and the being.
Yes.
Even it's hard for me sometimes to disconnect and just take care of me. Because I feel like if I'm just laying on the couch or if I'm laying in bed, I'm feeling ill, but I'm not doing anything. That uncomfortableness, I need to explore. Why is it uncomfortable for me to be just laying and taking care of me?
Yeah.
Right?
Like,
And-
are you allowed to just exist?
right? Who am I if I'm not all these things and I'm just Bella in bed because I'm feeling like I'm coming down or I'm run down? Oh, it's like, well, I'm not a red yet in the burnout scenario. I can still push it and then I'll die.
Yeah. Or like, imagine this, that you rested for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, imagine
I
that.
know, right? Holy man, that's like another concept, to rest with no reason. I'm going to have to explore that because that's a foreign concept to me.
Well, and the weight of everything on your shoulders. I mean, we even just had a conversation a week ago, I think, maybe 2 weeks, where we constantly live in this world of polarization. Something is or isn't. And so when we've got a lot of things to do, it feels like we have to say yes or no, and that they're both finite. That if we say yes to something, we can't later say no, or once we say no to something, we can't come back and say yes to it. So we say, you know what? Not now.
Yes.
Right?
I introduced this concept. We did a ladies getaway, and that concept shifted a lot of mindsets because it's not so finite. Yes or no are. It's either yes, you're committed, and now integrity kicks in. No, same thing, you're committed. But with not now or later.
Yeah.
But the not now was so powerful because we only have so much that we can hold on to or carry on our shoulders. And although I do want to, not now. This is not the time. So the power of, because I know there's a lot of like the power of no, right?
Yeah.
I feel like we've shifted into the power of not now. It gives us so much more flexibility because maybe it's not aligned today, but in a month, in a year, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So not saying that definite no, just saying not now.
Well, and I think to your point around the languaging is really interesting because, you know, looking at, let's talk about just like the vision holding versus weight of the world on your shoulders and the ability to take time to rest, right? If you know part of my essence is relational and holding a vision. So by resting, how am I actually contributing to vision and relational connection? And as soon as you figure out that association, you can be like, oh my gosh, the best thing I can do right now is rest because I'll actually be able to see the vision more clearly, or I'll actually have, you know, a more regulated nervous system for the next conversation I have. Right. And so then it almost gives you the permission slip you need of like, this is the recipe for me to live into my strength and my essence and my purpose.
Yeah, and the power of not now allows you to take some of those things and put them down, right? So that you can take care of the things that are a yes now.
Thanks,
Right.
coach.
And sometimes
coaches.
and sometimes it's a lot of the times it's you. Right? Like you need to prioritize self-care, right? And that's for everybody.
Yeah.
And all too often we end up living into this. Taking care of yourself somehow has become selfish, and selfish becomes something to be shameful over. So we need to break that and say, no, I mean, you do need to look after yourself. It's okay to say not now to people and things so you can get your rest, so that you can exercise, so that you can get your morning started. And then you have more clarity. You've got more energy to be able to tackle things with a lot more velocity than if you were tapped out.
Yeah. But oftentimes they have to have, frankly, the courage to take that step to go, okay, I'm going to trust you here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm not going to get smoked in the face again when I try this. Right?
Yeah.
So,
I think
that's the deal.
It comes down to communication. Like this is our world as well, right?
Really challenging.
It is.
Yeah.
So as couples, we talked earlier about you don't know where you're going to go if you don't know where you are. So having those conversations with your partner and being open and honest, saying, hey, I'm going through some crazy stuff right now where I'm sweating in the middle of the night. I wake up, I'm angry, and then I'm happy. And it's like this roller coaster of, but I don't know what's happening. Same with him. You're coming and saying, this is what I'm struggling with. Then you know where you are, and then you can come and fix the communication issues and fix your health issues, right? And then you're flowing again, right?
And the beautiful part of this is like when patients reach out to us, they're at the point where they're going, I want something to be fixed.
Yeah.
They may not always realize what it is, but they've at least realized that they need help.
Yeah.
And at that point, we're able to go, okay, let's step back and kind of dissect what's going on.
Yeah.
And they're open to getting the guidance and starting that discussion of what do we need to communicate about, you know, how are we going to do this? What is the game plan? Which steps do we follow?
There's a wide variety of patients too.
Oh,
you got to
for sure.
remember, right? Like not everyone is coming to us and wants to revamp their life. Like a lot of guys that I talk to just want a little testosterone to feel like themselves again.
Right.
Full stop. Still going to drink beer on the weekend, you know, like like all the things. And so I respect that too. I mean, you don't have to be
Do the whole
you don't have to do the whole bloody thing. You know what I mean? But you can, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
Like everyone comes from a different perspective.
But I still love the approach where it's like, you know, here's the game plan, where it can be like you're providing options and perspective.
I talk about possibilities.
Where you're just like, hey,
right?
I can do this, right? And this is, you know,
Today.
the predictable, certain future if you do this.
Yeah.
Not saying it's bad, not saying it's great, but this would here's an alternative, right? If you want to put in a little more effort, then we could still do some testosterone or whatever. But if you also do these lifestyle changes, I mean, this is also what's possible, right? Which I love that piece, because again, going back to social media, there's so much stuff out there that falls into your algorithm
It's just
about
noise.
you know what to do, right? And,
like
and it's always like, oh well, I need to be this ripped.
Half of it's
you know,
silliness, honestly.
Yeah. Where to feel good, you don't need to look a certain way. To feel a certain way.
No.
I mean, it's fun.
Well, even for the ladies, right? There's a lot of pressure to do the yoga and do the journaling and eat this way and do this. And that doesn't resonate with everybody.
Yeah.
I don't want to journal. But when you see these kind of things that pop up, it's always like, do this and do this and this. And I'm like, but 3 of those 5 things don't resonate with me.
Yeah.
So trying to find in the kind of tool case, which tools will work for the patient, and having them kind of identify that as you chat with them, you're able to go, okay, these things will work for them. How much will they help?
Yeah.
And what do we need to add then in some other way, whether it be medication or kind of a quicker fix to support that? Because I'm going to lose, traction if I try and tell them to do the same 5 for everyone.
Well, I think some of this stuff is all about, experimentation as well, because even just going back to like certain, tools, like you talk about journaling, just because you try something and somebody says it works for them and it doesn't work for you, a lot of people
failure.
It's like, it's not failure. It doesn't mean, give up on it all. It's like, okay, this didn't work. What else could I do? Right? Maybe instead of journaling, it's a different type of reflection practice, mindfulness practice, whatever it is. And everyone thinks of mindfulness as a form of, meditation, where it's like, I need to sit in silence and think of nothing. Right. And it's like, no, that's not, there's forms of mindfulness that it's like mindfulness in action. Right. You can literally be out for a walk in the woods or exercising in the gym or whatever it is, and you can still be mindful and just practice being in the moment. And that's a form of meditation.
That's me. Hiking. I love hiking, being in nature. And just being around beauty, the lake, the mountains. We do live in a beautiful place. I cannot sit in an office and I do not get creative. My mind does not function well in a box. So again, he journals every single day. I journal when I have things I need to release, but like that other type of, manifestation and whatever, I do that out in nature when I'm walking, and I connect to, like, when the sun is beating, and then I presence myself. I'm like, oh, listen to the birds. Oh, I hear this. That's meditation.
So here you are, you're in this is your practice. This is what you do for people. But you've also said that there's still times when you don't show up as the best version of yourself. In those moments, right? What are some things that you apply, or, modality that you use to help you through those moments, right? So that it doesn't get to a place where it causes too much tension on your relationship, right? Because it's not like you can just wake up in the morning and then all of a sudden it's like you both go off to work and you're separate. No, you have a business together, right? And so it's very different. What are some things that you do?
I can definitely say we've become better at it, firstly. So time spent together allows us to also learn more about each other, since it is a newer relationship. One of the things I think that we've become really good at is identifying in the morning when one of us is definitely having a more challenging day. And in that space, like for him, he'll be able to usually see it. As a woman, we're usually more obvious, how well we're managing for the day. And he will definitely often come over, hug me, give me the energy, and then as I'm working throughout the day, he'll quickly stop in and bring me a lunch and those things. So we'll be able to step in for each other. With him as well, I try and be conscious of that. And if I can see it's a day where maybe he didn't sleep well, he's more fatigued, or he's having a bit more of a challenge, trying to be conscious of knowing, okay, I'm going to fetch the kids. Did I sort dinner out? Is there anything else in the calendar that I can manage and take off that we don't have to do together? So trying to just be that person. So that's why in couples, they talk about it's not always 50-50. So on that day, I will try, and I'm not necessarily going to be good at it, but I'm going to try and carry 80% of the burden so that he can manage the 20% that he has to, and vice versa. And then some days it may seem more than that, or days where it seems more than that for each person.
The trick is, I think, to pay attention, but then also you have to do that with love in your
without resentment.
Like you can't be like,
I did
like
this, so you
keeping
should do
score.
this. Yeah.
Right. All that kind of stuff that happens. You have to be super careful about that.
Right. Like,
right.
Like you're constantly
You have to learn over
doing the
time how
things
to
and you
do
feel
that.
like there's a deficit there.
And we sometimes have a conversation about that too.
Yeah.
Like
we have to learn how to,
like, listen, I'm driving around too much.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you something, like, I feel like I'm the car nanny now. Like we need to make an adjustment.
Yeah.
And then so we do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I've had to make adjustments in myself, and that I have to say that earlier. Pretty commonly, I would just like, I'm the stoic, right? So I'm just I can power through anything that's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, but I would, but
It comes
just
out.
so it grinds on your nerve eventually, right?
Right.
Yeah. So the thing I had to learn was to have conversations about that earlier, as opposed to wait until it was bugging me enough that it actually then had to say something.
Yeah.
Let's talk more about the conversations, because I mean, to have those types of conversations, it's not just like, how's the weather type of dialogue, right?
Yeah.
There's a little bit of like how you come into it, what mindset, things like that, because you were already providing the answer to the question of, is it a trial and error thing? Because when you're saying, oh, he's going to get me lunch or these types of things, and you're going to do things for him, it's like, you just trial and error that stuff until you start to find stuff that clicks, or is it a conversation about your needs?
Well,
not at this point. I think we've been through an evolution ourselves where we've had to learn how to talk to each other, because we also both came with coping mechanisms from our previous relationships.
Yeah.
And then when we try to approach each other with those coping mechanisms, they didn't work. And it actually created a lot of friction, in the way we were trying to communicate. And there were times where we were like, is this going to work? Because even though we're not having blow-ups very frequently, when we're having them, they're so kind of discordant and not healthy and leaving us feeling so unsettled afterwards. We had to do, some reflective work of, how am I bringing myself? And is this the right approach for my partner that I have right now? And is it healthy for me? And where do we go from here? And it's not perfect, and it's an evolution, and we're still working on that, but we're trying to kind of communicate with each other. When you do that, it makes me feel this way. Can we try and do that less? And we're both doing that to each other, and then we're trying to kind of be conscious of that and make it habit over time. But initially, it's not habit. You have to think about it when as a woman. So now I'm angry for today. Now am I just going to blow up? Okay, no, he doesn't like that. Now I don't want to go to bed feeling like ragey. So what can I do? But really, am I being angry for the right reason or not? And then if I'm going to approach it, am I going to approach it with here's a conversation and I just want to splurge? Because that might not be healthy either. I don't get to just dump my anger onto you and then you say nothing and we go to bed and everything has to be fine. So a little bit of self-reflection back, going, if I'm feeling a certain way, is it really just on me to navigate that? And maybe it has nothing to do with him.
It's like, for us, it's like what worked before stopped working.
Doesn't keep working.
We're changing. And that's going back to, hormones, body change, like all that.
And an evolution of us as adults. We're becoming newer versions of ourselves. We do have to kind of shed the old behaviors. And some of those old coping skills that worked 10 years ago are not going to work anymore, because our partner is also evolving. And they're also expecting something different. And
it can be really challenging for people.
It has been. And I think
super scary.
What it used to be. Right? You have to get curious about, okay, what does my partner need at this particular stage in their lives? And whatever, situation that we're in, right?
Or even triggers, right? Like your partner may do something and it triggers you and you don't actually understand that it's a trigger. It wasn't the action that your partner did that's unhealthy. The action created a memory, and that memory has put you in uncertainty, whether it be a memory from childhood, whether it be a memory from a partner, whether it be a memory from a previous partner. It doesn't matter, but the trigger is now creating a secondary response in you. But if you don't understand done that, you're only seeing it as a primary emotional response
Yeah.
instead of, wait a minute, this only made me feel unsure because maybe back in the day somebody did that and it created an insecurity in me.
Yeah.
And actually my partner wasn't even meaning any ill intent with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a really good distinction that may have got buried in something you said earlier. I want to make sure that we capture it. It's, your communication wasn't working.
Yeah.
It's not that you weren't working
No.
as a
Yeah.
couple,
Yeah.
right? And that's really important. I think that
Yeah.
a lot of the times, whether it's at the beginning of a relationship or later on,
Yeah.
when there's breakdowns in the way that you're communicating with each other, it's easy to go, oh, we're not working,
Yeah.
right? We're not compatible. We don't work.
Mhm.
But when you are committed to each other and you're like, have that perspective of, well, no, we're together because this person declares that, they love me and we're
Yeah.
together for a reason, then it must be something else,
Yeah.
right? And then you start working on, how do we communicate better, right? How do I adjust my own meaning making so that when he or she does this thing and I get triggered, how
Even
do I reflect?
identifying it as a
Yes.
trigger.
How do I reflect on
Yeah.
it so I can work through it and communicate it
Yeah.
in a way where it's like, hey, maybe
I
not
get it.
in that moment because your heart rate is peaked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait till the heart rate
Yeah.
comes back down and then communicate it afterwards and say, hey, even if you don't have it figured out yet,
Mhm.
to still have the conversation and say, hey, earlier today, this thing happened and it really triggered me. It's it's not you, right? It's not blaming you, but I just want to have a conversation about
Yeah.
it. So we're
Yeah.
on the same page. I'm still working through it, figuring it out, because then, men or women, it's like, when you see the body language, when the partner's triggered and they have those little micro expressions or
Yeah.
right, they start
Prickly
He's talking
pear,
about this
that-
morning, actually, to be honest, I woke up and I was triggered, and nothing to do with him. It was just like, I don't know if I heard something or whatever, and I was just like shut down mode, and we're come down and we're prepping for the show and whatnot, and he's like, what's wrong? And I say nothing. And he's like, no, there's something. And
Yeah.
I'm like, there's nothing. Not right now,
That
not at
usually
this
just means
moment.
I want to talk about it right this second.
I don't want to talk about it right this second because we have, guests coming, whatever.
Yeah.
This is not something
Yeah.
to open the Pandora's box right now.
You can keep this
Right?
up.
Exactly, right? Yeah, I don't want to be crying. I don't know where this is going to go. And I don't even know actually why.
So many people try to pile new communication and new things on top of their old pile of shit.
Yeah.
And they're not willing to relinquish. Yeah, but this is the way I was raised and it should be this way. You got to let that stuff go.
Yeah.
And realize there's two people that come to the table with completely different backgrounds and maybe sort through it together. And if you actually laid it all out, you'd be like, wow, both of our parents were actually kind of dumb. And we should not, we should probably just take the really good things that are aligned with us and let's put those two things and those things in alignment here and let's create our own way forward.
Not only do you need to challenge like your own beliefs about yourself, both the things that you believe are great about you because they actually might not be, right? As well as challenge the things that you believe are not so great about you because chances are those are also lies, right? That you've been conditioned to tell about yourself.
Yeah.
But then there's also an aspect of, I find a lot of times those lies you tell yourself about you, those things that are not nice, if you pay attention, those are things that you kind of project out onto the other person as well, right?
100%.
And so when your significant other is a little micro expression or a tone or a word, a set, whatever it is, all of a sudden it's like, oh, they think that I'm
This and that.
whatever. Right? Chances are, not only do they not believe that, the reason why that gets amplified and used because it's connected to a belief that you have about you, right? But that's that scary corner we don't want to look in. It's much easier to go, you.
I have a really easy way for people that when they ask me, how do I feel worthy? I'm like, look at what you judge. Because anytime you judge someone else, oh, they have so much money, they're so this. Well, you have a judgment about that. So guess what? You're never going to allow yourself to be wealthy.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't think you deserve it, whatever. Like if you judge someone for the way they dress or the way they talk, maybe someone's too ambitious or too exuberant or whatever. If you judge someone for that, there's something in you.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we want to heal, it's actually very valuable to look at what we're judging in others, because everyone is a mirror. Everything is a mirror for us.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't like looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the turn.
I mean, that was the hardest part.
I look better in the dark.
Yeah. And now we have the, lights around us amplifying everything. So,
Yeah.
but it was the looking in the mirror, acknowledging all my parts, acknowledging all the things that I told myself that
But doesn't it set you free, though?
Oh my gosh,
it just sets you free. Like, we hang on to this identity that we create and cultivate, and we tell people.
Yeah.
But then we get to say that about ourselves.
Yeah.
And then when you move that out of the way, you get to be a little kid again, and you're just like, you get to create your life instead of just reacting to your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get to then design the life you want.
That's so amazing.
Even like around our relationship. I mean, there are people, and there's apparently gossip around, our relationship.
Ooh, I love when people are gossiping about me. It makes me happy because then they think about me, I guess.
Yes,
yeah,
and I'm like, and I had this conversation with someone, and I'm like, oh, really? And I think they were looking in for some sort of a reaction to me. I'm like, yeah, okay, well, their opinions and judgments really have zero effect on me and my life and my relationship. Right? What I do with my life, unless they're directly affecting me, that I have to take action and be like, okay, let's work on whatever. Yeah. Really, the gossip, the whatever, whether we should be together, really has zero bearing on our
Well, I think
life.
that we waste a lot of our lives managing other people's perceptions of us. Mm-hmm. And the moment that you give any credence to that, you have just given, if your energy is represented metaphorically in gold coins, would you really spend it on that?
Yeah, no.
Or would you invest it in what's right here? Yeah. One of my yoga teachers, Baron Baptiste, he said, if you don't like criticism, also learn not to take the sweets. Because both are attachment to external, outsourcing your sense of worth versus coming from like informed, you're outformed from out there, or you're informed from here. And I love that because it helped me has been very recently helping me really examine. I thought I had dropped my need for validation a long time ago, and to some degree, certainly, but I think that's also a never ending process.
Yeah.
And so just really checking in with, like somebody telling you you're great, like it's just the same thing as somebody telling you you're not. It really should hold no bearing on what I do or don't do in the world.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's exactly how I felt at that moment, because before the breakdown, it's been 2.5, 3 years almost since we've like
I think
grew since we
2 years.
grew up. Maybe it would have affected me. It's like, oh my God, what are they saying? But I had zero interest in finding out because I don't care. I really have that button is off.
Well, and most of the time when people are gossiping, they're repeating. It's like a game of telephone. Yeah. They're adding their own whatever they inferred, whatever, and it's not ever what was said or meant or whatever. So even to give it any credence is being outformed.
Yeah. And I always say never, because you never know what's going to happen and how you're going to react and how you would within that situation.
Well, we've all gossiped about other people in our lives.
Of course.
Every one of us has.
Yeah.
And we learn not to because we get caught up in it and it bites us in the ass sometime, and then you go, I don't want to be that person.
100%.
Yes.
And I think that's, part of the infinite game, which is the inner game, right? Needs to be running the outer game. But we're conditioned to have it the other way.
Yeah.
Right? Where the outer game runs our inner game. And then we become constantly reactive.
Yeah.
And isn't it insane to think that you would allow other people's reality of you, not your reality of you, but other people's reality of you to be driving what matters to you most.
Do you know how many coaches and like high profile coaches I worked with that were like, you got to do this and you got to like, and the game is this and you're not, and you're disciplined. And I had practices, let me tell you, for years and years, I always had a meditation practice, gratitude practice. But then I had to add in like read 10 pages of a nonfiction book and do all of these
Get
like
up at
leadership
5.
and get up at 5 and do all this.
exercise.
And I did all of those things. And guess what? My whole fucking life still came apart.
Yeah.
And my business didn't grow that much from doing those things.
Yeah.
So what I had was discipline. But what I did not have was devotion to what mattered to me.
Yeah.
And so now I understand that I can have discipline for anything that I want to do. I have discipline around what I eat and my exercise and the things that matter to me, telling people I love them.
Yeah.
I have discipline around those things. And now I intend to live my life from devotion, which comes from in here, not someone prescribing from out here. And I think that that's a very different thing. It's like a devotion to what matters to me, what lights me up, what creates more love in the world, what creates more joy in the world. And that feels really great to me. And I think that if people get even a little taste of tapping into that, this like outforms, it feels so cheap and empty. And all of a sudden you're sort of it gets flipped on its head and you're like, what was I just paid $12,000 for that coach to tell me that? Sheesh. Like, wow.
Yeah. And, we believe that, although, we're talking about very much breakdowns in an aspect of like physicality, right? Like something like a relationship, finance, something breaking down in order for you to have that breakthrough. People would be like, oh, okay, I got to let a part of my life go to shit in order for it to transform. No, not necessarily.
No.
What I hear is like, if you get really aligned on what you want for your life, your vision, your dreams, right? Because you can be very disciplined, but not quite clear on why you're being disciplined. So you've got these gurus and people that they've done things like this form of discipline really helped them achieve a result, but it's also because they knew what they were working towards and why. If you don't, just doing a bunch of things very, very well, very disciplined, doesn't mean you're going to get anywhere.
It just becomes another place to hide.
Right. Right. Because you can hide by, look at what I'm doing.
Look at
and
what
I can say that I'm doing all these things.
Yes,
Look at me, and I'll put it on Instagram.
5 a.m. club, this and that.
You do.
But I did that, and it makes me cringe now.
But now you can do those things. You do those things just so you can tell people that you do those things. Right. Yeah. Look how I'm on the path to success because I'm doing these things.
Yeah.
Where if you really step into true possibility, right, which we say is the true form of possibility when you're trying to envision the life for yourself, is you strip away all the constraints, all the limitations that you put on yourself, right? So I'm no longer thinking about, well, I'm also a father, I'm a husband, right? So when I'm trying to imagine the life that I really would love to live, I gotta, no, that's too much constraint and limitation. Just envision what's possible without all of that, because psychologically our brain's really good at, we can say, oh, I really, really, really want to be a multimillionaire, like so bad out of a 10. Okay, well, what would it take to achieve that? And then you start thinking about all the discomfort, who you need to become, right? The new identity you would need to take on to achieve that. Because the reason why you want to be a multimillionaire is because you're not one now, right? So you need to be a different person, right? New habits, new things.
So the breakdown has to be of your identity,
right? And then
death of the ego,
right? But then what happens is like all that discomfort shows up, and one of two things happen very quickly. All of a sudden, we lower our expectations of what we want to achieve. We choose a smaller dream, a smaller vision, right? Play a little less. Or we lie to ourselves about how far along we are in actually achieving it. Right? Either way, we're not playing that infinite
and
game.
I think we've all done both of those things, back and forth and back and forth. And then there's a third thing though, and I would say that it's when we get to and I've done both of those things, certainly. But I'd say where I am now, it feels much more, I've probably made my dreams a little bit smaller, because I realized they weren't mine to begin with. And so what I'm doing right now is saying, like, do I feel peaceful every day? Like everything is so that I can feel. I want to be a multimillionaire. So what? So that you can feel secure, so that you can provide for your family, so that you can whatever. It's so that you can feel a certain way. So what are the things that I do every day that make me feel that way already? Because right now is actually all we have. All those future projections are a fantasy.
That's right.
So how can I create that sense? If it's peace that I want, if it's love that I want, if it's abundance that I want, then how do I create that today, right where I am? And I don't think that that's diminishing our dreams. I think that's actually amplifying them in the long run. And that's more of a spiritual practice than a business practice, you know?
I mean, it sounds like you're focusing on the experience, right? That you want to have out of life, because we associate money to identity.
Yes.
Versus associating it with, it's just a vehicle. Right? It is something that I leverage to create experiences in my life that, you know, I want to have. And so a lot of the times we can start having those experiences a lot sooner than waiting until having acquired a certain,
I say never wait. Waiting is for suckers. I don't know, can I say that?
Yeah, you can.
Of course I can. So we're the host. The future is unpredictable and uncertain.
And it doesn't exist yet. We're always living in the now. So if we have the maybe someday I will be happier, you will always live in a deficit.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode and gained valuable insights to elevate your life and business.
If you found value in our conversation, spread the love. Share this episode with family and friends, and let's grow this supportive community together.
And don't forget to like and follow us so we can reach more amazing people just like you.
Until next time, remember, let's not sugarcoat it. Keep it real, raw, and unfiltered.